Hi, my name is Catherine Warren, and this presentation provides an overview of my third grade math lesson on equivalent fractions. This is a 2-week technology integrated lesson designed to help students develop a conceptual understanding of fractions through visual models, collaboration, and digital tools. In this lesson, I incorporated 3 primary digital tools to support student learning. Nearpod was used for interactive instruction and formative assessment. Pear Deck was used to promote engagement and collaboration. Lastly, students used Google Slides to create and present their final product. Nearpod was used to introduce and reinforce fraction concepts through interactive activities such as Draw It, responses, and quizzes. I will now show an example of a Nearpod lesson used during this unit. As you can see, once you click the link, you can hit teach, and you can also preview the lesson. You can do live participation where the students are on their own device and you pace it, or students paced where they can go on their device and work independently at their own pace. This is what it would look like on a student's device if I hit student pace. But if I wanted to teach it, I would do live participation. So launch a new live participation, and the code would come up, and that's what they would have to type in on their computers. As you can see, it gives you the lesson overview, show what you know. We talk about identifying and representing equivalent fractions. There's true and false statements. Then we have some think about it questions and some visuals. Next, you have write it. So you would grab the writing tool and write the correct answer into the slide. Parts of a whole, this one you can practice. So the students will be practicing this on their own computer. Then this is also like a game, so you're matching the description of the fraction and the pizza. So if this person ate 2/4 of the pizza, then you would click that, and the pair would disappear. Then you would continue. And they would answer these on their computer. You could also write it in here with the tool. More practice. And then at the end, there would be some multiple choice questions for the students to either draw, write it, or add an image. And this kind of helps get that formative data to determine which students are understanding this and which students are not understanding the concept. So Pear Deck is definitely a valuable tool. Next, I used Pear Deck. Pear Deck was used to encourage engagement and collaboration. Student created visual models and explained their thinking. I'll now demonstrate how this tool was used. You can click on Pear Deck and you can either create an exit ticket, and you can pose a question. So I could even put equivalent fractions in here. And you select the grade level, third, and at, above, or below grade level, subject, mathematics, and it can create a Pear Deck for you, which is really cool, especially when you're in a time crunch. So it takes a second to create the Pear Deck. And then once the Pear Deck is created, students will have the opportunity to answer those questions. I will go back to the Pear Deck once it loads, but we will move on to Google Slides. Google Slides, I used a teacher-created model since we can't use student work, but students created visual models and explained why the fractions are equivalent. So this is the example I gave students. I took a fraction, 1/2 is equal to 1/4. I used shapes to draw out the pictures, and then I beautified the slide and added it into a cute little bread slice. And it says these fractions are equivalent because they represent the same amount. This lesson was implemented over 2 weeks, beginning with a pre-assessment followed by guided instruction, collaborative learning, and a final performance task. Students were highly engaged, but challenges included pacing differences and minor technology issues. These were addressed through flexible grouping and peer support. In the future, I would include more small group instruction and real-world applications to deepen understanding. But overall, this lesson demonstrated how technology can support conceptual understanding, collaboration, and student engagement in mathematics. Thank you for watching. We can see if the Pear Deck has loaded now. Okay, so I can open this Pear Deck. And I would log into it right here. Okay, and then it would give me exit ticket questions. So you could keep going, which is really nice. Do you think you understand equivalent fractions now? And you could have students answer that on a sticky note or a sheet of paper and turn it in. And it says write down a fraction that is equivalent to 1/2 that you found. And there's a ton of questions, but it's really cool because 4 questions is perfect. And that's all they really need at the end of a lesson. Thank you for listening.